Hey there friends, welcome back to Homestead on a Prayer. It's June, and here in Connecticut that means strawberry season. Now we don't grow enough strawberries here at my house to really meet all of our strawberry needs. So today we're going to be going to a local farm. We're going to be going strawberry picking and hopefully get lots of strawberries for fresh eating, maybe for freezing for the winter. So I hope you'll join us for a day of lots of fun. We're going to pick some really delicious strawberries. I'm going to try out a new pound cake recipe and we'll make strawberry shortcake together. I think that'll be a lot of fun. All right guys, let's go pick some strawberries. All right, so we had a really fun day picking strawberries yesterday. As you can see today, there's a guest on our channel. Tell him your name.
Jonah.
Jonah. This is my son Jonah. You want to tell him how old you are?
10.
He's 10. He's almost 11. So today we're going to be making something that we both love, right? What is that? What are we making?
Strawberry shortcake.
Yep, strawberry shortcake. And what's your favorite part of strawberry shortcake?
The whipped cream.
The whipped cream. But what we're going to start with is the pound cake. Now we're going to be making pound cake instead of a regular shortcake or biscuit recipe. This is the very first time that we've ever made this. So Jonah and I are going to be learning together how to make this. And if this recipe comes out good, I'm going to link it in the video description so that you can make it too. All right, so let's get our stuff together and Jonah's going to help us make some pound cake today. Okay, so we've preheated our oven to 350 degrees. Our baking dish that this is going to go in and we're going to coat it with cooking spray. Do you want to spray that, Jonah?
Sure.
So shake it up. Let's give it a good spray. Give it a good shake. All right, go ahead and give it a good spray. Make sure you coat the whole thing. We don't want our bread to stick, or our pound cake to stick. You got that? All right, let me just see if we missed any spots. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we've got it very generously sprayed. We're going to add a little bit of flour to this to help it not stick. So Jonah, you want to grab a spoonful of flour and put that in there? You can just use a tablespoon, that's fine. Okay, so we have prepared our baking dish. We sprayed it with a light coating of cooking spray and then a light dusting of flour. So we're gonna set this aside while we get the rest of our cake prepared. Okay, so the first thing Jonah's gonna do for us is in this little bowl here, we're gonna mix up all our liquid ingredients. So we've got 3 eggs, 3 fresh, delicious eggs from our chickens. So I'm going to go ahead and crack these in here. Now I've got 3 tablespoons of milk that we've already measured out. We're going to add that in with our eggs. And the last liquid ingredient we need is half a tablespoon or a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. So we have delicious homemade vanilla extract. So you want to go ahead and mix that up, Jonah? Remember to kind of poke the egg yolks so that there you go, and then go ahead and beat that up. Now the first thing that we need is 1 1/3 cups of cake flour. I don't have any cake flour, so I'm going to show you guys a nice quick and easy substitute for cake flour. So we need 1 1/3 cups of flour. So first of all, I'm going to start by measuring out just a cup of this all-purpose flour here and pouring it into our bowl. So we have a cup of all-purpose flour. Now to change that into cake flour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove 2 tablespoons of that flour and I'm going to replace it with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That kind of gives the flour just a little bit more lightness, which is better for a cake. Now we also need 1/3 cup of flour. So I'm going to add 1/3 cup. And because that's 1/3 cup, we have to scale down the amount of cornstarch that we're going to add to it as well. So we're going to take out, instead of 2 tablespoons out of this 1/3 cup, we're going to take out 2 teaspoons of flour and replace that with 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll move on to the rest of our ingredients. we've got our cake flour made in here, which is our all-purpose flour plus our cornstarch. Jonah is going to add in the rest of our dry ingredients for us. So why don't you go ahead and add 3/4 of a cup of sugar, Jonah? He's got a 1/4 cup measure there, so he's going to fill it up 3 times and pour it in. You want to fill it right to the top so it's nice and even. There you go, that looks good. Then just dump it right in. So you need 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Then the next ingredient that we're going to need is 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So he's going to measure that next. He has a 1/4 teaspoon, so he's going to do 3 of those as well. So go ahead and measure that the way I showed you. So are you really looking forward to the strawberry shortcake, Jonah? Yeah, good job scraping it right across the top.
Ice cream is better.
Ice cream is really good, right? But fresh strawberries, we only get once a year, right?
Yeah.
Nice and smooth across the top. Okay. Okay, so the last dry ingredient that we need, which I'm just going to measure in here real quick, is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So we're going to add that in. Then we're going to run our mixer for a minute just to incorporate all our ingredients, and then we'll meet you back here. Okay, so we have our dry ingredients all mixed in. Now we need to add our butter. Now look at this beautiful, this is organic grass-fed butter. I got this from Azure Standard, and this is the best butter. It's so delicious and rich. So Jonah, do you want to pour this in? This is 13 tablespoons of butter. This is not a light cake. Okay, so Jonah's going to add our 13 tablespoons of butter. You want your butter to be softened, so I've left it at room temperature overnight to get nice and soft. You know what? We might even need a spatula to scrape all that goodness out. Let me see real quick. I'm just going to make sure that we get every little bit of this delicious butter. Now, we need to get the liquid ingredients that Jonah mixed up for us. We have our eggs, milk, and vanilla here. We're going to start with half of this. So we've added our butter and half of our liquid ingredients into the dry ingredients. So we're going to run our mixer on low speed until the ingredients are just moistened. Okay, so we've got our ingredients moistened here. I'm going to now scrape down the sides of the bowl. We're going to pick up any little bits of dry ingredients that are sticking to the bottom that didn't want to get incorporated, and we're going to scrape down all the wet ingredients from the side of the bowl. Then we're going to increase our mixer speed to medium, and we're going to beat this for about 1 minute to get everything really well incorporated. Okay, so we've been beating our ingredients together for a minute. They look nicely combined. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our wet ingredients again. We're going to add half of them, and then we're going to mix it again for about 30 seconds. Then we'll add the other half and mix it again for another 30 seconds. The recipe says be careful not to overmix, so we're going to keep an eye on this and make sure that we don't mix it up too much. All right, Jonah's gonna pour in the last of our wet ingredients and then turn the mixer on. So that's the last bit. Make sure we get it all, every little drop. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on about speed 4 or so. So we're just gonna scrape down the bowl again, make sure everything's incorporated. Okay, so our batter's all made. Now we're gonna carefully put it into this loaf pan that we prepared, and then we're gonna stick it in the oven. Okay, so we've got our batter all in our loaf pan. Now we're just gonna take our spatula and just smooth out the top as well as we can. Just wanna get it nice and smooth so we don't have any air pockets and so that it cooks nice and evenly into a nice loaf shape. So here's our pound cake so far. It's looking really good. The recipe says to bake this at 350 degrees for about 50 to 55 minutes. So I'm gonna set my timer for 45 minutes. I always like to set it for a few minutes less than what the recipe calls for, especially the first time I make a recipe, and check it because we definitely do not want this to get overdone. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven. I'll meet you back here when we're done. So while our pound cake is cooking, we're gonna take this chance to prep our strawberries for strawberry shortcake. Look at this beautiful haul we got from a local strawberry farm near us. Now, these are not all going in our strawberry shortcake. We're just gonna make a nice bowl full. But I'm gonna show you how we prep these for strawberry shortcake. Okay, so we washed, here, tilt it so they can see it. There you go. So we washed lots of strawberries for strawberry shortcake. So we're just gonna show you how we prep those. We're gonna cut the tops off and put them in here for our chickens because the chickens deserve a treat too. So what we're gonna do with our strawberries, we're just gonna cut the tops off. We're going to put them in this tray for the chickens. And then we're just going to slice up the rest that we're going to use for strawberry shortcake and put them in this bowl here. All right, so we've got our strawberries all chopped up. We've got our strawberry tops all chopped up, so our chickens are gonna get a delicious treat too. So what I like to do with these strawberries is just put a tiny sprinkle of sugar on them. They don't really need very much sweetness, but what the sugar is going to do is it's going to draw out the moisture of these strawberries and make it really nice and saucy, because the best part of strawberry shortcake, in my opinion, is when you get that delicious strawberry juice that really soaks into the pound cake. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna stir these up. We're gonna let them sit at room temperature for a little bit. That's called macerating them, which is kind of a scary sounding word. Basically just means to let your fruit sit with some sugar on it for a little bit. So we're going to do that. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some sugar on them. I'm gonna stir them up a little bit, cover them with plastic wrap, and let them sit at room temperature for a little bit. All right, and then make sure you just stir it up so the sugar touches all the berries. And then after a little bit, if these don't look like they have enough juice coming out of them, I'll mash them a little bit with a potato masher. I like to let them macerate with the sugar for a little bit first to see if we really need to do that. All right, are those all stirred up and ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's cover them up. Okay, so our pound cake is in the oven cooking. Our strawberries are soaking in the sugar, getting nice and juicy and even more delicious. Now it's time to make the third part of our strawberry shortcake, which Jonah thinks is the most important part, the whipped cream. So I have this really delicious heavy cream from a local dairy. They make the most amazing cream and milk there. So I got this. So we're going to turn this into delicious whipped cream to top our strawberry shortcakes with. Okay, so we have here a pint of heavy cream. I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in here. And you can see, look at how thick that is. That is so much thicker than any other cream you find at the grocery store. And this doesn't have any thickeners or additives to it, so I really love it. It's just extra delicious. It's all from Jersey cows. So, all right, so we've got our cream in here. Now we're going to start whipping it up. I usually start on like a medium speed. Now this cream here I do have to be careful with because it's so rich. It's so much richer than cream you'd find at the grocery store. It does turn into butter pretty easily, which is not altogether a bad thing, except when you want whipped cream. So we're going to whip this nice and carefully and make sure that it turns into whipped cream and not into butter. So once the cream starts to get what's called soft peaks, which basically means when you take your spoon or your whisk attachment and pull it out, it leaves a little, like a little curl, but it kind of curls over. It doesn't stand up straight. That's called soft peaks, and that's when I want to add my sugar and my vanilla. So I don't really measure either of these. I just kind of pour a little bit of vanilla in until it feels like the right amount. And same thing with the sugar. I have some powdered sugar here. I don't like to overdo it because I don't like my whipped cream to be too sweet. Just a little bit of sweetness is all we really need. So I'm just gonna add a little bit. We're going to whip it up a little more and give it a taste test. I'm gonna start it on low speed to make sure that our sugar and our vanilla really get incorporated before it really whips the cream more. All right, so let's give this cream a little bit of a taste test to see if we need more sugar or vanilla. Nope, that is perfect. I'm just gonna whip it just a tad bit more, and then it's gonna be all done. And then we're gonna bring in Jonah, who will be the ultimate taste tester, right? All right, so we have our whipped cream connoisseur here, our ultimate taste tester. So we're gonna get a little bit out. It's nice and thick. Take that, tell us all what you think of it. Is that good? It passes inspection? Yes. All right, perfect. Take a little more of a sample. All right, so our whipped cream's all done. We're just going to scoop it into our container. We'll put it in the fridge and let it finish setting up and get nice and cold. Okay, so our timer for the pound cake just went off. I'm not sure if it's done or not yet, so let's pull it out and take a look. All right, I can definitely tell that this is not done without even testing it. See in the middle, it still looks a little bit liquidy. So I'm gonna put that in for another 5 minutes and set the timer. But it looks like it's gonna be delicious. Just need a little more time. Okay, so it's been another 5 minutes. Our timer went off again, so we're just gonna check this bread for doneness. Now it looks like it's pretty close, but if you see the toothpick there, it does still have a few crumbs on it. So we're gonna put it in for another 2 minutes and check again. Okay, so our timer went off again. It's been 52 minutes total. Our bread is done. I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's done. So you stick the toothpick in, pull it out, and if you look at it, nice and clean. So that means our pound cake is done. So we have all the parts of our delicious strawberry shortcake made and ready. After dinner tonight, we're going to assemble them and enjoy it. All right guys, so thank you so much for hanging out with us and making strawberry shortcake today. Definitely try this recipe because it's delicious. So before we go, Jonah has something that he wants you guys to know, which is that Jonah also has a YouTube channel. It's actually my husband's channel. He kind of manages it. Jonah creates all the content for it though. It's officially my husband's channel and Jonah makes the videos and my husband manages it. So why don't you tell them your channel name, Jonah?
Mighty Hammy.
Mighty Hammy. I'm going to link that in the video description, so make sure that you check out his channel. Now, Jonah, do you want to tell them a little bit about the kind of videos that you make?
I make Fortnite videos.
Yeah, like gaming videos? Yeah. So Jonah's really good at Fortnite gaming, so he makes some videos of that. So they're a lot of fun, so check those out. And let us know what you're doing with your strawberries this year. So we're making strawberry shortcake. We're obviously going to be eating a lot of them fresh. We'll probably be freezing some of them. Probably, if we have enough after all that, we might make some jam too. So let me know in the comments what you're doing with your strawberries because they're so delicious this year and we don't want to miss out on any amazing recipes. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you're having a good day and we'll talk to you later. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you later.
Oh.